Good afternoon. My name is Somnath Ghosh. My pleasure to welcome you to the webinar series of IRF India chapter on road safety education and awareness, a comprehensive approach. Today, we bring to you the second webinar on awareness around vulnerable road users, biggest lever for enhancing road safety. I'd like to invite Mr. K.K. Kapila, President Emeritus, IRF Geneva. Mr. Kapila is a chartered civil engineer and a fellow of the American Society of Civil Engineers and is very well accomplished person. Apart from leading a renowned infrastructure consulting organization in India, employing over 1,500 professionals, he is President Emeritus of International Road Federation, Geneva, and founder president of IRF's India chapter. Mr. Kapila believes that safety in transport network is a hallmark of a sustainable and robust economy, be it road, railways, airports, port, metros, etc. During his tenure as chairman of International Road Federation from 2010 to May 2019, Mr. Kapila led the organization towards the vision of safe roads and safe mobility across the world. His focus was to fulfill the UN Decade of Action, envisaging 50% reduction in road fatalities through following activities on 5 E's, especially in the developing world of Africa and Asia, amongst others. His focus now in the second decade of action is to undertake programs on all the 5 E's simultaneously for a visible result in achieving the decadal goals. With this, I would like to request Mr. Kapila to introduce and give his inaugural address. Sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure for me to address you all in this webinar series, which we started. Let me first of all share with you the world scenario in brief. This world loses over 1.35 lakh billion people every year, which tantamount to almost 10 jumbos crashing every single day on roads in the world. Yet, there's hardly any noise created. Although if one jumbo crashes, it is a subject matter of discussion and debate for months together. A lot of investigation is done. Here in the case of road accidents, hardly any investigation is ever done or results are ever announced as to what really transpired. It's a difficult scenario. Over 50 million people get involved in injuries due to accidents, and many of them live their life with permanent disabilities. This economic loss to the world on account of road accidents is about 1.8 trillion US dollars, among bowling favor of 1.8 trillion US dollars, which is more than the budget of 10 poor nations of this world. Yet the world is not doing enough to contain it. Back in India, the problem is still more acute because instead of reducing road accidents, the last year's data shows that the accidents increased instead of reduction. The economic loss in India is again a mind-boggling 2.61 lakh crores. Mind you, ladies and gentlemen, is 2.61 lakh crores, which is the economic loss on account of road accidents in India. So what should we do? How do we contain it? And therefore we started to work on all the 5 E's. The first E is engineering of roads. The second E is engineering of vehicles and policy corrections. Third E, which we are now talking about in detail, is education and mass awareness. Fourth E is enforcement, and fifth E is emergency care. After completing the webinar series last year on all the 12 webinar series on covering all the E5s, we have now embarked upon a 3-webinar series to cover road safety education and awareness. Under this, the first webinar was done on road safety education during formative years. The second one, which is today, is on awareness around vulnerable road users, biggest lever for enhancing road safety. And the third webinar, which we have planned in this series, will be held on 15th of November. And the theme of that is media as critical pillar for road safety education and awareness. In road safety education, IRF has taken a number of steps. Actually, when we say that you work on all the 5 E's, it will work. That's a statement. But what we also started to do was a validation exercise in the 7 worst affected states of India in terms of road accidents and fatalities, which are UP, Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Maharashtra, Karnataka, Kerala, and Tamil Nadu. We approached the chief ministers of these states and requested that please tell us the worst, about 150-kilometer road which has the worst record as far as road safety is concerned, where maximum number of accidents have taken place, number of fatalities have been maximum. Please give us those roads. And we will work on all the 5 E's on those roads and convert them after working on 5 E's as one of the safest roads of that state. With this ambition of validation, we got letters written by Honorable Minister Nitin Gadkari ji to all the chief ministers of these 7 states. Roads were identified and all the work on all the 5 E's have taken place in these areas, in these stretches. Except now that under E1 we had identified what needs to be done on the roads, to what corrections were required to be done on roads in terms of road curves, in terms of junctions, in terms of road signs, in terms of road markings. All that we have prepared in detail for each road, prepared the bill of quantities and handed over to the National Highway Authority of India to get those corrections done on the roads. This work has already moved quite a bit, and a lot of work has been done, but quite a bit is still pending. But anyway, it's a work in progress. We have similarly taken up the work on other E's. Let me come down to education, what we did in education. In education, what we have done is, we took a corridor of 4 kilometers, 2 kilometers on either side of the road, identified the schools and colleges that exist on those roads, and sent our team to educate the students, the teachers, for long-lasting effort, so that if teachers have been trained, they can continue to train the new students which come in. And we have initiated some competition amongst them, so that the road safety as a subject gets ingrained in their mind. We have also prepared books by taking six from class 6 to class 10 by taking the base as NCERT books. We hired some 20 teachers and 3 principals and carried out an exercise of rewriting those books after educating them for 3 months in road safety. And we now have all these books ready and they are available on IRF website. You can download and start using them. The advantage of this is that whatever subject you study, whether you study English, you study mathematics, you study Hindi, social studies, you will, each subject while you study conveys the theme of road safety into your mind. It ingrains into your mind road safety. So every subject, you don't have to teach road safety separately. Every subject that you read brings in road safety into your mind. And that we thought was the best way it could be done. We have written to all the states to adopt it, except for a couple of them. The rest are still to adopt them. Since road safety is a state subject, the center has little hold over it. And in spite of the Honorable Chief Minister writing to all the Honorable Minister for Transport writing to all the Chief Ministers, it has not yet been started in various schools in the country, which is unfortunate. But we continue with our efforts to see that these get started in various schools in the country in the next couple of years. As a part of the education and mass awareness, we have also prepared an anthem. Now, road safety anthem is a 1-minute anthem which conveys the theme of road safety, which brings out very lucidly the road safety part, and it has been done in all languages, so that wherever we are talking, whichever state we are talking in, we have the road safety anthem in the language which is spoken in that state. We have done this in 23 Indian languages and 10 foreign languages to cover the world. I will continue after. I'll first ask my colleagues to play this road safety anthem in Hindi, for example, so that it brings you the theme as to how we have done this part. Mr. Ghosh, kindly play the road safety anthem.
हेडफोन न यूज करो, थोड़ी सी लापरवाही जीवन भर का है रोना, चौकन्ना रह कर ही चमकाओगे हर कोना, सड़कों पे सावधानी पहली प्राथमिकता है।
This is the anthem which we have prepared in all the 23 languages commonly spoken in India, and also in 10 foreign languages with which we cover the world. The intent is that once it is heard repeatedly, it will make it difference in your psyche. If you get road safety, will get ingrained in your mind. So what we have started doing is that in the states where in the schools where we have taught, road safety anthem has been made a part of their prayers. Road safety anthem, we also are promoting through the effort is to promote them through the buses, transport buses, which are interstate buses in every state which we run. The intent is that after every 5 minutes, automatically a road safety anthem of that particular state comes up for listening of the people sitting in the bus. This is being attempted through BIS, because what we are trying to do is get this provisioned as a requirement of the bus code. So once it is a requirement of the bus code, it will automatically get going in all buses. We will not have to follow up. That will become a ritual. The other effort is to have this in the, on metros, on railway stations, on toll plazas. So wherever possible, we would like to push this road safety anthem so that it gets ingrained in masses, not only limited to school children. Let me share with you that the maximum advantage of this has been derived by the Chinese, who have made it a part of their industry. Every shift which starts with 1 minute anthem in Mandarin, and that continues in every shift. So that is the kind of thing which I am expecting to have in India as well, and let's hope that it happens soon than later. With these words, I'd like to thank you all for coming and joining us in this webinar. I'd particularly like to thank the speakers who have agreed to come and speak in this webinar. And of course, all of you who are attending it. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir. With this, on behalf of IRF India chapter, I would like to give the vote of thanks to the supporting organizations, World Economic Forum, and our sponsors, Maruti Suzuki, Ashoka Buildcon Limited, Gawar Construction Limited, Dilip Buildcon Limited, and 3M. And all the others who have helped to put this webinar together. With this, I would now like to request Professor Sigdar as the moderator to take on the responsibility for moderating the main webinar. Professor Sigdar, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Ghosh. Good afternoon to all the speakers, as well as all the listeners, or rather the audience. Well, this series of webinar on education and awareness, a comprehensive approach, is so valuable that that's the key for road safety. Until and unless we know what is road safety, obviously we'll not be able to sensitize ourselves. And particularly this webinar, the second webinar on awareness about vulnerable road users, the biggest lever for enhancing road safety. Yes, that is also a fact of the matter. And this is very important statement. And we have 6 stalwarts of road safety profession. And I would like to introduce them first before I introduce the topic. I'd like to introduce the topic through a small presentation in few minutes, making sure that you understand what is the real problem. Now, I would like to say that there are 6 presenters, and I will introduce them briefly now at the beginning itself so that we don't lose time further later on. We have Dr. Navdeep Ahuja, Traffic Advisor, Government of Punjab, and he will be speaking something like focused measures on VRUs, and that's very, very important. Dr. Ahuja is an advocate of road safety who has worked for more than 2 decades to promote road safety in various ways in this country. A PhD from IIT Delhi and currently serving as traffic advisor to Punjab government. And he is the director of the Punjab Road Safety and Traffic Research Center. His pioneering concept of car-free movement and promotion of non-motorized transportation has caught up Punjab and other nearby states, and everybody looks for that. That's how Dr. Ahuja is known for NMTs or VRUs. Let me talk about the second speaker, Mr. Rajiv Kapoor, Managing Director, Steelbird High-Tech India. He will be speaking on mass-scale initiatives like use of helmets, lane driving, reflectors, etc., etc. Mr. Kapoor, the Managing Director of Steelbird Group, has started his journey in the corporate world long back. As early as when he was only 20 years old. Every industry has given some trend-setting leaders and who are also known as game changers. And one of them is Mr. Kapoor. When it comes to an unconventional sector like helmet manufacturing, Mr. Kapoor is one such personality who has made helmets a fashion. And it's one of the largest helmet manufacturing in Asia with 6 plants and 22,000 helmets produced every day. Then we have the next presenter, Dr. H.M. Naqvi, a close friend of mine, Chief General Manager of NHAI. He will be talking on role of local and central governments. Dr. Naqvi, Chief General Manager, National Highway Authority, has more than 30 years of experience. Presently, he is handling the work pertaining to road safety cell in NHAI. And he was also the CGM and regional officer in Chennai, handling the work related to implementation of 2,000 kilometers of national highways. He worked in Central Institute of Road Transport, CIRT, Pune, City and Industrial Development Corporation, Maharashtra, CITCO, and also he worked for some time in RITES, Rail India Technical and Economic Services. He is member of many high-level committees of Government of India, and particularly he is also member in Indian Roads Congress committees, which are developing codes and standards. Then we have Ms. Aishwarya Raman, Executive Director, OMI Foundation. She will be talking on role of local and central governments, a case study. Ms. Raman is the Executive Director of Ola Mobility Foundation, and she is a member of the Global Futures Council of World Economics Forum, advisor to Global Partnership for Informal Transportation, member of CII, various committees, then an MSc in Sociology from University of Oxford, a mobility entrepreneur and academic in her previous careers. Aishwarya is committed to the cause of sustainable development. Next is our Dr. Amu Gopalakrishnan, a specialist in traffic engineering from 3M India Limited, She will be talking on road safety measures for vulnerable road users. Dr. Ramu has over 10 years of experience. She had PhD from School of Planning and Architecture, Delhi. She is also a certified road safety engineer and auditor. She has worked on comprehensive mobility plans, planning and design of urban roads, DPRs, and many other similar projects. Currently, she is working as a specialist traffic engineering in transportation safety in the transportation safety division of 3M India. Next, our presenter will be Mr. Pankaj Singh, Head of Safety, Cement Business of Adani Group. He will be speaking on facilitating infrastructure for VRUs. Mr. Singh is safety professional practicing and influencing people on safe life habits. His key strengths include safety culture building, leadership coaching, behavioral transformation, and such other things. He joined Holcim India in 2017, handled multiple roles such as head of health and safety, head of road safety, etc. And he has recently taken over the role of head of health and safety in Adani Cement Group. He has 25 years of leadership experience in safety across multiple industries. He is also serving on the board of National Safety Council of India and also Road Safety Subcommittee at FICCI. He has been awarded Safety Influencer Award 2021 by WSH Asia in Singapore and Holcim Road Safety Leaders 2021 by Holcim Group Switzerland. And recently, GD Goenka University awarded him Leadership in Health and Safety. With these words, I have introduced all these people. Now I'd like to introduce the subject. What I feel about the education, safety, education, and awareness for vulnerable road users. Let me share a couple of slides just to explain you things in a more lucid manner, probably. I hope you can see my slides. This, you know, I have already said. These are the 6 speakers. You have it in your brochures. These are 6 speakers. Now, first of all, why we need to be concerned about VRUs? That comes to my mind when I think of VRUs. Who are VRUs first? First, we need to know who are VRUs. Pedestrian, bicycle, other non-motorized modes, cycle, rickshaw, animal cart, etc., auto rickshaws, e-rickshaws, motorized two-wheelers. All these are categorized as vulnerable road users because they are not inside a steel cage like car, bus, truck, or any such mode. These people are exposed anytime any hit to their vehicle, they will fall and they may die. Now, this is the story in 2019. I'll show you the 2020 data also, which is also published. But 2019, I'm showing because this is more reliable data. 2020 was marred by pandemic. In 2019, which is the normal traditional trend of road safety in this country, you can see VRUs were 70% of all fatalities in that year. And fatalities in that year was 151,000. Now, if you look into the various states, what is the proportion of VRU in their total fatality? 20 states and union territories have more than the national average of 64. And some states like Goa, Kerala, and all these things, 80, 90, 100% of all fatalities to VRUs only. 2020 data, it was published March this year, and you can see it has been said accidents have reduced, fatalities have reduced, number of injuries have reduced. How does it matter? If the accident severity has increased, that means fatality per 100 accident, for every 100 accident, it has increased from 33.7 to 36. So we have not achieved anything. We have gone bad really. Now, if you look into the vulnerable road users, particularly pedestrian, bicycles, and two-wheelers, look here. These also have increased. Their proportion in total fatality, all that has increased. And alarming thing is that two-wheeler fatality used to be 37% only in 2019. Now it is 43%, and it is really scary. It is real scare. Now, one beautiful example from Japan. What does it say? In 1970, the Japan had 170,000 pedestrian accidents or pedestrian fatalities on their road network. And they started building the footpaths on the roads. And these green bars are building of footpaths. As they built the footpaths, the pedestrian fatalities have come down. What better example you can have than this one? Look at this, how the Western world treat the pedestrians, wheelchair bound people, and other disabled, visually impaired, and so on and so forth. They have provided ramps to climb onto the footpath. Look here. It's all beautifully done with the handle to hold for the disabled people. Look at these signs, markings, beautifully done to facilitate the VRUs. This is fantastic. Tactile ground surface indicators for the disabled people, visually impaired people. Now, this is the situation of tactile surfacing in our country. Look at this. Tactile surfacing is done where it is done, how it is done. Is it worth anything? Is it to satisfy the codal requirement or to serve people? Look at this again. Same is the situation. How a disabled person will move on this footpath. Look at this. Where is the pedestrian crossing is painted in the middle of the junction. Scary. Look at this. 4 lane in one direction. It is probably 8 lane or 10 lane roads, divided roads, and this huge number of people crossing on the face of in front of these vehicles, high-speed vehicles. There is no underpass, no overpass. This is, you see, look here, a beautiful 8 lane or 10 lane elevated corridor is being constructed. And simultaneously, a pedestrian underpass has been constructed or being constructed. Look at the fate of the pedestrian underpass. Millions of rupees, crores of rupees have been spent on this elevated corridor, and what has been spent on this? The pedestrian infrastructure is like a tunnel. It's very narrow and there is no ramp. Look at this cyclist is carrying his cycle down this path we talked about. Look at the fate of two-wheelers. This is the trend since 2012 about the fatality of two-wheelers, motorized two-wheelers. 2019, it was 38.55. And I told you 2020, it is 43%. And soon probably we'll see it to be 50% of the total fatality in road accidents. This is the situation of two-wheelers. If they find the road congested, they climb onto the footpath. They are moving on the footpath. If footpath is congested, probably they will go.
कहाँ गई थी? मौसम का हाल लेने. The all new Hero Pleasure. Why should boys have all the fun?
Exactly. Girls also should have all the fun. In spite of all these statistics that I have shown, we still advertise two-wheelers like this. Look at this. All traffic is stopped in this train. This train will be shut down. And two-wheelers are allowed to go. Two-wheelers are allowed to go. This is my condition of the postman. Why it is happening so? It is practically we are not sensitive to the problem in the correct way. It is not, we probably started educating people in the wrong end. That means the road users. We don't have to teach road users, they will come in line. We should teach the planners, engineers, policymakers. Let them make that underpass a wide one with ramp for cycles, etc., etc., and all such things. Motorcycles also should obey all the traffic rules exactly the way everyone else follows. And then only we'll reduce it, not increase like this in 2020. It is 43%. And I'm hoping that in 2022 data will show it to be 50%. I'm really scared, really scared. We have to change the infrastructure. We have to change the mindset of the designer, planner, and everyone. And our all 6 speakers will be talking about all these things in more detail. I just introduced the subject. So I would like to invite now the first speaker, Dr. Navjit Ahuja. He will be speaking on focused measures on VRUs.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Professor Sikdar. This is Navdeep Asija.
Yes.
I'll be talking more about a vulnerable road user, and since sir has given details about the overall condition about the country, but I will be specifically talking about the northern part of India and particularly Punjab. And why Punjab? Because I have a lot of examples working here. Because the northern part of Punjab is one of the densely populated area, like almost every 3 kilometers there is a one village on a highway, and about 160 or 175 cities, within the small population. So is the case of Haryana also. So my presentation would be on that. I'll be quickly. My screen is visible, and if it is clear.
Yeah, it's coming probably.
So
yes, it is visible.
So is it? So I think I'll just go back in terms of the first vulnerable road user. What are the vulnerable road users? I mean, that technically this definition has been used, but WHO defined it as in 2013 that pedestrian, cyclist, and motorcyclist. But then European Union further refined it in 2015, and then United Nations is more what Professor Sikdar talked about in terms of all the vulnerable user. And if I say about a particular context to India, yeah, legal definition is not available because we defined traffic in only 2017. So our country got what traffic is all about because we have a traffic police and everyone, and all the acts were saying about a traffic management, but traffic was legally not defined prior to that. So for Indian context, even we have a lot of animal-driven vehicle, especially, and agricultural vehicle in terms of people from the one farm going to the mandis. So we need a debate on it, and all such user which are like talking about from the criminology perspective, like from the enforcement perspective, all the VRUs are like precisely are the one which are like a required a target hardening. In criminology, I mean, they use a word called target hardening, that we need to strengthen the target because they are the victim by and large. They generally take the energy during the accident. So we need to strengthen them by various ways through better engineering, enforcement, and other mechanism. So our national road safety policy in India talks about particular about a non-motorized transport and vulnerable and physically challenged. So by and large, our policy covers the VRU part. Uh, if I just say one of the quote, one of the study by Ian Roberts, here we can see that from 18 how the mobility of the planet has been changed. You know, the car occupant has gone up, walking has gone down, and the further cycling is relatively going down. So one reason is certainly the safety, because you know, people are not feeling safe, especially in the urban areas. We have 8,000 city in the countries, and larger population of the vulnerable road user is actually getting killed in the urban areas, especially when the highway is crossing the urban limits. I'm just giving you the, you know, from the planning perspective, what damage has been done in this automobile centric development, which started almost after Second World War. There are two cities. One is Atlanta on my left hand side, and right hand side is Barcelona, if it is visible on the screen. Uh, so if you just see the same size, rather the size of a black color, it is on both the picture on a same scale. So the right hand side, Barcelona is a planned on a, you know, for a walking, cycling, keeping vulnerable road user into the mind, and it is not an automobile driven city, whereas the Atlanta is totally. So the population density in Atlanta, which is an American city, is about 2,000 person living in a 1 square meter of an area, whereas in Barcelona you can see the same size of population, rather little more, is living here. And now we can actually calculate the kind of investment required or a number of deaths which are less. The carbon footprints are almost 10 times lesser. So the considering VRUs into the planning would definitely going to change the scenario, because the kind of urban planning we are following, it's going nowhere. I mean, you know, the urban area and a peri-urban area and the lack of public transport, I think all these things are going to impact us sooner or later. So we need to act now, keeping vulnerable road user into our planning and road safety aspect, and that will bring a big change to us. So what happened actually? I mean, in the last 50 years, I mean, I'm just showing you, this is the pre-corona top 10 world, top 10 Fortune 500 companies. And if I just see out of those 10 companies, 7 are the oil and 2 are the car manufacturer. So where your money is going actually because of the bad planning, and in return, we are just getting road accident and a pollution. So is it going to be sustainable? We need to talk about it now, because the kind of developmental model we have picked up, we are killing more number of people on our roads, and in return, precisely, we are not getting any benefit, direct benefit. So
Dr.
I'll talk
Ahuja,
about
just a point. We have 6 speakers and we have about 1 hour 5 minutes time. So about 8-9 minutes maximum, please.
Right, sir. So I'll talk about the crashes. So these are the 7 cities I have picked up. If you just see the vulnerable road user in the total percentages, about 85% across all the way from Chandigarh, Patiala, Moga, Amritsar, Jalandhar. So this is slightly on an even higher side than a national average, which is a 70 to 75%. So that is another area of concern for us. If I talk about particular national highway, when they cross the city limit, this is a national highway number 44 crossing Ludhiana. So if you just see the total people who are dying over there, are VRUs are 85% of the total death in that particular stretch of 31 kilometer, 42% are the pedestrian, two-wheeler and cyclist. Same is the scenario for Panipat elevated urban highway section, 10 kilometer of the section, again 44% pedestrian, two-wheelers. Ludhiana urban section for NH5, again 90% vulnerable road user, And what I would like to mention here is that something is lacking in terms of our national highway. We follow a one-dimensional approach, which is a linear movement of the traffic. But when highway enter the city limits, we need certain more robust design standards and other planning methods, especially in the case of our national highways, because the larger chunk of the population is getting killed on the national highway when they cross the city limits. So this is Amritsar BRTS corridor. If you just see, out of 49 fatalities, 44 are the vulnerable road user and black spots. So major issues are like, we know that the highway is crossing, Gurdwara is on the left hand side and the entire village is on the left hand side. So we are bringing the land swapping policy in terms of that, let the Gurdwara or a school, instead of making a particular school safety zone, still the people will cross and there is a probability of getting killed. What we are bringing is the land swapping policy, that whenever the land acquisition is happening, so any school like to get shifted toward the right hand side where the village population is living shall be facilitated without stamp duty and other things. And that's something which I request that at a national level shall be taken up, because no amount of safety, I mean, best of the even engineering can't make them safe. Still, there will be some probability of getting killed. But if we move Gurdwara or school on the right hand side, things will improve. So such reforms are required. I mean, all flyover tail point, we are shifting them. Actually, we are not improving black spot, but we are shifting the black spot from one point to another. And this is the scenario, because in all such care, motorized transport is getting facilitated, but not others. Same zebra crossing, I think this is well known. All these pictures are very clearly depicting that this is a cycle track, but right at the middle, there is a widening was happened, and the pole is there. 12 people are annually getting killed in Punjab just by falling on it. So all vulnerable road user, motorcyclists and all that, it could have been, without sharp edge railing. Such open drains are common sight in planning methods. So all these are a design. I said that all these people are getting killed largely by design actually. So people are getting electrocuted while moving, and all the, we have I think vehicle charging stations, I mean, we are building up, but on every footpath there is a transformer, and I can call it as a pedestrian charging station, because they are getting electrocuted, and we are getting many news every day, and especially in a rainy season. But again, a blank. So other issues, the social impact, I think street light is one important aspect which has largely been ignored on national highways, especially on a black spots. Few of the case study we discovered, and one of the very successful study at Arrive Safe NGO in Chandigarh, that we found that the crossing of a road is a very difficult, so we need the help of God. So we bring in God, I mean, to help that, and this advocacy actually helped that now, the Pelican Light and other vulnerable road user centric infrastructure was started developing thereafter. So this is the outcome, that speed tables and all are being built. This is an underpass. It's just not a shady blank underpass. It's a very vibrant space connecting sector 17 with the Rose Garden, so that people can have a lot of activity, lot of opening and natural light. So even the designing concept of underpass has been changed. Rather than just making an infrastructure, we are making a very interactive infrastructure for pedestrian by keeping them and their safety in mind. So all the cycle track have come up through all the advocacy things which we have done. Thank you very much, sir. And this was all from my
Thank you so much for keeping to the time. And it's wonderful what you said. It's very, very important. I mean, the comparison of Atlanta and Barcelona was fantastic. I mean, that was the truth. We have to change our policies and reform many of the issues related to design. And as you said, that crossing the road with the help of God, that was really a good example. Now, let us go to Mr. Kapoor, Rajiv Kapoor, and I would invite him to make his presentation on mass scale initiatives like use of helmets, etc. Mr. Kapoor.
Yeah. Very good afternoon, everybody. I am audible to all?
Yes, yes.
Okay. I really appreciate all of you, and thanks for all speakers, listeners, And always I appreciate the efforts done by Kapila ji, by complete team about the road safety. Really, it's commendable. I would like to say many things, but first of all, I would like to say a few things about our company, about ourselves. Then I would like to share a lot of things with you.
But you have only about 7-8 minutes, please.
Yeah, no problem. I am very fast in this. Okay. Steelbird founded in 1964. Everybody knows that it is 58 years old company. We are producing 22,000 helmets, and we are supporting lot of government bodies, NGOs who are giving the helmets as a CSR activity or giving free of charge for towards road safety. Like we're given a lot of helmets to ICC Lombard at a very reasonable prices. I think so more than 500,000 helmets we must have given to them. We have given more than, we have signed a contract with Awaz Foundation from Rajasthan for 1 million helmets at a very subsidized price. Means we are subsidizing a lot for helmets for road safety. Our helmets are going all over the world with the FIA Foundation. Everybody know FIA. FIA has approved our helmet, and more than 100,000 helmets are going around the world under a CSR activity. So doing a lot of things, lot of advocacies. I'm already appointed by the MOD ministry to form the standards and how to save people. And we are doing a lot to save people, a lot. But frankly speaking, I have said many times before that we are in India. We are 1.3 billion population. It's very, very difficult to educate people. Okay, we cannot compare ourselves with Europe, with United States, or with other countries. We are India. Even Nitin Gadkari ji said that we give the driving license. We don't have a capacity to give so many driving licenses, but we are giving so many driving licenses. Okay, from where they are generated. People are uneducated here. First of all, education. Kapila ji said very well, education is very, very important. It has to start from nursery, I think. So each and every school education is must. But enforcement is very much required. See, all over the world, the truck drivers, the bus drivers who are driving, the Indian bus driver, truck drivers in Dubai, in America, in Europe, they are driving very well. They don't meet with the accident. They are the best driver there. But why not here? Because the law, because the enforcement, because we have no tickets. How much penalties we give to the people? Nothing. It's almost zero. So enforcement is very much required. Once we start enforcing, we will start saving lives. 101%. Here, like section 138 is there already, that each two-wheeler company has to provide helmet along with the bike. But nobody is providing. No state is enforcing. Basically, we are not synchronized together. All departments has to synchronize together. Everybody is putting their own efforts independently, sending the letters to MOD, to ministry, to transport minister, to secretary, and to chief minister, to everybody. But we all are not synchronized at one platform. If we will not come at one platform, how we will be able to get things implemented and how we will save the lives? It's impossible. Just by making the helmet mandatory, we can save millions of lives. Just with the one effort. But we are not doing it. We are not doing it. Even we have section 138 that every two-wheeler should have a helmet, bike should provide, but we have not implemented. By doing these two things, we can reduce 50% of the death rate, 101%, but we are not doing it. These are two simple tasks. We are not doing it. So I'm always with everybody because everybody is putting lot of efforts, but at the last, all is going not in 100% in vain, but 50% is going in vain. Yes, something is happening. Surely something is happening. We have to increase the size of the ticket. Drink and driving. I see youngsters, they are drinking and driving a lot. And what is happening? Few days we give a ticket, we put them in jail, and after that, nothing is happening. You never see in the media, in the news, nothing is happening. And people are keep on drinking and driving in the car. And what is happening? Because the law is not enforced. There is a law. In India, we have the maximum laws as per me, but they are not enforced. They are not enforced. Like Mr. Sija said, in 5 kilometers, 10 kilometers, we have 40% of that. We know this very well. And we are doing nothing. We are preparing a data presentation, doing a webinar, but we are knowing it that in 10 kilometers, 50% people are dying. And we are not changing those 10 kilometers because we are not synchronized altogether. Everybody is putting their efforts. And myself is also put a lot of efforts with each and every ministry, department, ISI, with SHM, with everybody. But nothing is happening because we have to be very strict in enforcement. Very strict in enforcement. Surely we have to educate from the class, nursery class. Definitely each and every theater should have in the starting, like we have a national anthem. Now they must have something about the road safety. It should become mandatory. Okay. But at the last, enforcement is very much required. Very much required. And I don't know what, like all the things like seat belts, okay, which saves the lives of the people, like helmet, which save the life of the people. There is GST of 18% to 28%. Why? We should have zero. We want that people should wear a helmet. We want that people should apply the seat belts. Okay, but GST is 28%. Why? It should be zero. So it become affordable. And two-wheeler riders are poor people. They are not a rich people. They are poor people. They are taking the bikes on installment, and we are charging 18% GST from them on the helmets. And we want that they wear helmet. So lot of things we have to do, but we have to be together. And I think so we should form Kapilaji can do the best, that there should be a committee, one road safety committee with all the departments of India. And Kapilaji can form it. And nobody can else do it. If we do that and everybody will be there in that committee, each and every department, I think so things will become more easy. Much more easy, because everywhere, everything will be synchronized. And like Asija said that we must shift the school, we must shift the temple or something. It's really not easy. In India, if you want to shift a grade wale ko bhi hatana, to it's not so easy. You know very well. It's not so easy. Yes, it happens when the Delhi metro has happened. Yes, but all over India, I don't think so. Or we have to pass a law that, okay, we pay double than the market price. Yes, then maybe there is a possibility. Otherwise, I don't think so anybody is going to shift from one place to another. So a lot of things has to be done in India. Lot. I am always with everybody, always, but all results has to be fruitful, really fruitful. We are working with all even FIA, with lot of oil companies, giving lot of helmets as subsidies price, but it's really not working. Even we are working with UNO, and they are talking about millions and millions of helmets to provide all over the world. But to produce, just to beat an Indian demand, it's the requirement of helmet. We have to invest 6,000 crores. Helmet industry has to invest 6,000 crores if helmet tomorrow become mandatory and each and rider start wearing the helmet. It's not so easy. It will take 2, 3, 4, 5 years to fulfill. If we want that each and every two-wheeler rider and pillion rider should have a helmet on his head, it will take 5 years minimum if we start now, because we have to build up the infrastructure for the production. Then only you can have helmet on the two-wheeler riders. Otherwise, it's impossible. But we are not taking an initiative because we are not synchronized. Really, I am always with you, and I would like to be always a supporter in all terms. And we have to be very strong, really, very, very strong in enforcement.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
Well, it's beautiful. I mean, that you have said that a lot of CSR has been done on distributing helmets with subsidized price. And particularly what you mentioned is the law, section 138, to give helmet along with a two-wheeler. That should be followed very strictly. not one helmet, two helmets for the pillion rider as well. That's how it should be. And as you said, enforcement is the key. And particularly the point you have raised is very valid, that GST must be abolished on these safety items, surely.
Thank you very
Now
much.
I-
And one thing last I would like to say, if we implement section 138 very well, from market, all substandard helmet will be finished, because today
Yeah.
more than 50% of the rider and pillion rider are
They are
wearing
using the substandard
and
ones, yeah.
non-ISI or fake ISI helmet. When
Okay.
big companies will be buying the helmets,
All
they
right.
will be testing and checking, and they will giving a right product.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Well, I would now request Dr. Naqvi, CGM and HEI, to speak on the role of local and central governments. Dr. Naqvi, are you there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Am I audible, sir?
Yes, you are.
Yeah. Thank you, Professor P.K. Sikdar and the distinguished panelists and also the audience. In fact, before I commence my presentation, I would like also to thank Sri Kapilaji for holding this webinar on a very important theme, which is basically awareness around vulnerable road users. And this is very, very critical for improving road safety in India. I would also like to share some of the thoughts which basically pertains to national highways. In fact, I was listening Mr. Asija's presentation and also Mr. Kapoor's. So both have dwelt on similar thing. So friends, I don't need to spend too much time on vulnerable road users because previous speakers have already spoken about who are VRUs. And we all know that as far as VRUs are concerned, basically it comprises of pedestrians, non-motorized transport users, and also motorcycle users. So motorcyclist is one of the important vulnerable users. And as I mentioned, pedestrian, bicyclist, cyclist, hand cart, animal driven and all. And why they are vulnerable? Because as Professor Sikdar in his opening remark have explained very well, that these are the road users who are unprotected by outside shield, which normally the other car users and lorry users have. Now, this is the slide. I think Professor Sikdar has also shown pie chart. I am also showing the pie chart. And if you look, perhaps both the charts, it depicts the more or less similar thing.
You will have to share your. You have not shared probably, have you? How I am seeing your slide is not progressing.
Oh my!
Is it?
Is it visible
now
now?
it is there. Now it is there. Yes.
Okay. So is it visible now?
Yes. Yes.
So basically, you can see in this slide, there are two pie charts. One is of 2019, another is of 2020 motor accident data, road accident data in India, which is compiled by MORTS. And here you can see the issues pertaining to national highways. And these national highways are with respect to NHAI. And when I say with respect to NHAI, that means predominantly the national highways with NHAI are 4-lane and 6-lane. We do not have a large number of 2-lane highways with us. Majority of the 2-lane highways are dealt by MORTH or PWD, state PWD. Now, if you look at this pie chart, whether the first one or the second one, both the pie chart at the top side, I have given the cumulative figure of the VRU's share in fatal crashes. Basically, I am not talking about the normal crashes. I am talking about the fatal crashes. And if you look at the fatal crashes, 2019, 60.6%, 61%. Again in 2020, despite COVID and all, it is almost the same, 59%. Now, if you look at the distribution, motorized two-wheeler 35%, and 2020 it has reduced to 31.8%, maybe due to COVID, the motorcycle usage might be a little lower. Bicycle side 2.9%, and in 2020 3.5%, pedestrians 13.9 and 17.1. So basically, if we look at and non-motorized other non-motorized vehicles 6.5 and 8.8%. So what you can conclude from these two pie charts, that perhaps as Professor Sikdar has in the opening remark very well mentioned, that the scenario has not improved at all. You can very well see the figures. In case of pedestrians, there is a rise of about 3%, and same is the case of bicyclists. In case of motorized two-wheeler, yes, there might be slight reduction in the figure, but it is not leading to good this thing, because 31% or 32% of the total fatal crashes on national highway, which are 4-lane and 6-lane, seems to be quite high. And in fact, it is a very, very alarming signal for all the highway professionals. Now look at this. In fact, I try to look at what is safe system approach, and I found that among all the 4 key parameters of safe system approach, if you look at the last line, it says addresses the safety of all road users. So my dear friend, my humble request to all of you, or especially the designers, highway designers, or those who are dealing with the traffic junction designing and all, when we do the highway designing, we must ensure that even our highways are being used by pedestrians, by bicyclists, and animal cart vehicles and other, motorized transport. So what happens is many a times the highway professionals, while designing the highway, they are ignoring the aspect of all road users. They think that these highways perhaps are only for motorized transport, and they are not catering to the requirement of safe movement of the pedestrians, bicyclists, and even the two-wheeler riders, which is motorcycles and all. Now look at my topic. They have given me role of government. In fact, I was trying what all can be covered in this. So first, I think the role of government is, in fact, while going through the literature and all, I could
Dr.
conclude
Nagvi, your slide should
it is
progress.
still not visible.
Yeah, it's not progressed. The 2 pie charts are seen. Yeah, now it is gone. Yeah.
I think I need. Okay. Is it now visible?
Yeah, it is moving now.
So I think okay.
I
So
think it
basically,
needs to
role
be
of the
brought to the
government.
presentation mode, Dr. Naqvi. Slide is not in presentation mode. That's why it's not moving on the screen.
Is it not on the presentation mode?
Yeah, if you can click on the bottom right side, bring it on the presentation mode, it'll be, yeah, that's one.
Is it okay? Is it okay now?
Not come to the presentation mode as yet.
Okay, now is it okay?
Not as yet.
Presentation mode, there is one slide share option is there. Then reading view.
Yeah, the rightmost one is presentation.
Okay, it is readable.
It's
It can
readable.
proceed.
Let's continue.
Continue. Yeah.
Is it okay now?
Yeah, it's okay. Go ahead.
Continue, yeah.
Okay. So basically, I was talking about one is the safe road infrastructure where the government is can play and it's playing an important role. And as I found from the various literature, I could find that first is the review of standards of all road users in design of rural and urban roads. So this is very important. We need to periodically review, and I am happy that Indian Road Congress has recently upgraded or revised the guidelines for pedestrian facilities. Earlier it was 2012, now it has become 2020. So it is a good this thing that based on the need of the road users, especially pedestrians, the Indian Road Congress has come up with the revised guidelines, and I am quite sure that these 2022 guidelines, once these are becoming part of our design features, these will take care of various issues which Mr. Navdeep, Professor Dr. Navdeep and other people have just narrated. Now there is other issue. NHI has also delegated powers to our regional officers and the field unit. One is on black spot rectification, which I think all of you must be aware by now that we have delegated 50 crore per black spot to the regional officers, and we have recently introduced another delegation to the project directors, wherein 25 lakhs per black spot of MORTH notified black spots have been delegated to the PDs. So they can immediately, once the black spot is notified, identified, they can take up the rectification, both short and long term measures. In addition to this, we do have provisions for construction of pedestrian underpasses, wherein 25 crore per PUP has been given, and we also have additional features of FOBs. And in FOBs, earlier there was no escalator provision. Considering the inconvenience of the road users or pedestrians, we have decided to include the feature of escalator, and for 4-lane, we have delegated power of 2.25 crore per escalator, and for 6-lane, it is to the tune of 2.75 crore. So these revisions have been done very recently just to make our FOBs more popular, because there were issues that these things are not being used, or there is a underutilization of FOBs and PUPs. In addition, as Mr. Asija was saying, street light was an issue, but street light, I must say here that all the urban and inhabited sections, there is a codal provision as per our contract agreement. These lights are to be provided, and these things have already been provided. In addition to this, if a road is meeting with a state highway or major district road or some this thing, there we have also given direction that they can go for high mast lighting. So these are some of the things which we have introduced. Apart from this, government role is very much there to take care of non-motorized transport and vulnerable, including the physically challenged in terms of design and construction. And they can very well incorporate while doing the designing ITS based solutions. One of them could be advanced traffic management system, ATMS. There are many other things. I have just listed here one. And government can always support taking up pilot projects to demonstrate best practices. So these things our Ministry of Road Transport and Highways have already done. In NHAI also has taken up some pilot studies. There are other organizations where I work, like CIRT Pune. We have taken accessibility, enhanced accessibility for one of the bus station in Pune, that is called Shivaji Nagar bus station. We have done the audit before and after implementing the features, accessibility features at the bus station, and also along one corridor in Pune, the entire stretch was made as accessible for persons with disabilities by making improving the ramp and what other things, handrails, etc. What Professor Sikdar was showing in his photographs. So government can definitely provide a good this thing base or support in carrying out both pilot studies as well as helping in design and construction. And best practices, in fact, as other speakers were mentioning, need to become to be disseminated to our town planners, architects, highway professionals, traffic engineers, and all other stakeholders. Because once each and every stakeholders uh, look into these aspects, understand the importance of enhanced accessibility, including safety in his profession, definitely we will find there is a change, because these things are not easy to do by one or two individuals. Each and every other stakeholder have to work on this. There are other things which government has a very important role is about the enforcement. In fact, Mr. Rajiv Kapoor was mentioning in his you know deliberations about how the helmet rule can be become more effective once the enforcement is more stringent. I fully agree with him, and there is a very urgent need, especially on highways. In fact, there is a very urgent need that highways, all the motorcycle riders, both pillion as well as the driver, motorcyclist, need to wear helmet, because we find that when they are in urban areas they do wear, but when they go to the rural like highways and all, they many a times are not bothered about wearing of helmet where this is required the most. That is a very serious issue. So I hope that with the amendment of Motor Vehicle Act 2019, and also as I mentioned the provisioning of ATMS, Advanced Traffic Management System, which we are now incorporating in our new highways, you will find the implementation of VIDS, PTZ cameras, and all these things can very easily capture the vehicle number as well as the violators of those who are not wearing the seat belt and helmets can be passed on to the police, and these police can then take action against the violators. So this, I think, is a very important issue. And then the emergency medical services for accident victims, there also government role is very much there. And as far as National Highway Authority of India is concerned, we have been, all of you must be aware that we have one helpline number for the road users, which is 10333. Once you dial at this number, you will find there is a, this basically is a helpline number where you can report any kind of issue or incident which occurred at the highway, and then the helpline command center will take care of your problem by sending or dispatching the patrol vehicle, tow-away crane or ambulance or whatever other assistance are required. Then similarly, state governments also do have 108, which is a ambulance number, and this is quite popular in each and every state. And I felt even in Tamil Nadu, where I was working earlier, both 10333 and 108 were simultaneously, people were calling at both the numbers. And as a result of that, whenever an incident or accident take place, you find that at the accident spot, vehicles from NHAI as well as from the state government were available to help the victim. In addition, friends, we do have developed an app which is called Sukhad Yatra app. This app is available on both Android and iPhone, and this app can also assist you in reporting any incident which occurs on highway, including repair and rectification related complaint of the highway can also be reported. And nowadays we are trying to upgrade the feature so that it becomes more user friendly. So my request to all the audience sitting over here is to make use of the Sukhad Yatra when you are traveling on our national highways. As I mentioned, that National Highway Authority of India, whether they deal with 4-lane or 6-lane national highways, we do have incident management vehicles as per our contract provisions. And you will find that every toll plaza, right now these vehicles are stationed at the toll plaza, do have patrol vehicles, tow-away crane, and ambulance. So as per the requirement, these vehicles are dispatched to the incident place, and then the incidents are taken care of.
Dr. Naqvi, can you wind up, please?
Yeah, I will wind up. Sir, ATMS is one of the very important features which I have explained. VIDS is video incident detection, PTZ cameras, ATCC, all these things are there. I myself have witnessed one of the project in Chhattisgarh where it was successfully implemented, and I was there at the command center. So this can definitely help to enhance safety of vulnerable road users, because many times the vulnerable road users crashes, minor crashes are not reported, only fatal crashes are reported. And that's why I showed you in the first slide only the fatal crashes, because many times the underreporting of minor and other crashes is observed. In fact, the last slide is I talk about the research. Government can also play a very important role to enhance the research with respect to road safety. And if you really want more focused research, then one can very well do research on VRUs, which basically pertains to motorcyclists, bicyclists, and pedestrians. Funding can be arranged. In fact, centers of excellence can be established. Already MORTH has signed an MOU with IIT Chennai. Like that, many other organizations can sign MOUs and participate with the government in their research activities. Education is also very important, and government's role is very much there in finalizing the school curricula with respect to the road safety requirement. So many state governments coming forward. In fact, Rajasthan, Maharashtra and all, I have met some of the NGOs where they have developed some of the booklets and other material, course material for implementing with the respective state government. NGOs definitely can play a very important role. And again, to rope in the NGOs, government have an important role. So friends, these are some of the things which I could find as far as role of government is concerned in enhancing safety of vulnerable road users. And I have focused my presentation on national highways. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Naqvi. I would like to invite now Ms. Surya Raman now on role of local government and central government, a case study. She will talk about a case study. Dr. Naqvi, can you unshare, please?
Thank you, Professor Sikdar. I'll wait for Dr. Naqvi to stop sharing the screen, and I'll put my presentation on after that. Yeah.
You have about 7-8 minutes, please. 7-8
sure.
minutes.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Kapila, IRF India chapter. It's an absolute privilege to share the stage with such eminent speakers and experts in the world of road safety. I also it's my honor also to follow the presentations of Professor Sikdar, Mr. Kapoor, Dr. Asija, and Dr. Naqvi, of course. I'm Aishwarya, Executive Director of OMI Foundation. OMI Foundation is a new age nonprofit think tank looking into working at the intersection of mobility, innovation, and public good. We carry out extensive evidence-based public policy research on the subjects of electric mobility, energy, urban mobility, accessibility, and inclusion, where we particularly study the mobility needs and aspirations of persons with disabilities, other vulnerable road users, as we are discussing today. And another thematic area of focus for us is future of work and platform economy. We carry out, like I mentioned, a lot of evidence-based policy research. One interesting project which is currently underway is OMI's efforts on building something called the Ease of Moving Index. EOMI allows us to capture citizens' perspective on all things mobility. We're conducting India's largest mobility survey involving 50,000 citizens across 40 cities, and also putting together a lot of secondary data points on mobility in our effort to benchmark mobility scenarios in different cities. But for today's presentation, of course, we'll focus on road safety. I'll take this opportunity to introduce an initiative that Ola Mobility Institute, OMI Foundation, is running in collaboration with IIT Kharagpur and Professor Akhilesh Srivastava of the World Economic Forum. The initiative is SAFAR. SAFAR stands for Safe and Accessible Future Using Artificial Intelligence on Roads. We all are aware that over 150,000 individuals lose their lives to road accidents every year. SAFAR helps us with data analysis. When we know that road accidents take place at the street level or at the local level, we unfortunately, unintuitively see that road accident analysis is taking place at the city level and at times, at a pan-India level or at a statewide level. And we are trying to build a platform that will allow city authorities, especially the traffic police, the transport departments at the city levels, to take hyper-local decisions based on hyper-local data. Therefore, SAFAR, our platform, harnesses the power of hyperlocal data and artificial intelligence to make our roads safer. The team that's building SAFAR includes me, as well as Professor Advay Mitra from IIT Kharagpur and Dr. Akhilesh Srivastava from the World Economic Forum. Previously, of course, he was with the NHAI. Our initiative is also supported by Salzburg Global Seminar and Japan India Transformative Technology Network, which is funded by the Nippon Foundation, Japan. How exactly do we solve this problem or this mismatch of accidents happening at the local level and data analysis in general happening at a pan-city level? What we do is that we feed in a lot of the data from the city authorities directly. These are data sets involving your FIRs, your medical records, video feed from CCTVs that are placed across a city. All of this is then analyzed and we turn the analysis output in the form of a dashboard. This dashboard then provides street level, locality level policy decisions that a city authority can take. We spoke earlier, Mr. Kapila especially spoke about the 5 E's. Now, a city may not have the wherewithal to implement 5 E's uniformly and with the same amount of focus across the city. Resource constraints do exist, and to sort of address this problem, we have built SAFAR Labs. What SAFAR Labs does is it takes the shape of a dashboard. The dashboard has 3 modules. One is SAFAR View. This is a visualization module where you can see hotspots of the different road accidents that are happening, clusters of road accidents that are happening in your city. You can also study the causation of these road accidents. So based on the FIRs and based on the robustness of the data that we are processing, we're able to also visually create a map of the causes of road accidents, the environmental factors that were involved in the road accidents. All of this can be visualized, and that is first module of SUFFER labs called SUFFER View. Then we move on to carrying out causal analysis. This is done in two ways. One, the intelligence software that we've built allows you to see causation or causal, allows you to read the results of the causal analysis at the street level directly. Alternatively, you can create a few scenarios to understand the causality of a particular accident. Again, this is a tool that would be helpful for planners. And lastly, we have something called the simulation module, SUFFER Sim. Now, the SUFFER Sim module allows you to simulate results of positive interventions. I mentioned that a lot of the cities would be constrained by the resources that they have, the hundreds of crores of rupees that they may have to invest in numerous projects, and road safety also needs to be prioritized. In that case, depending on the resources that you have, you can feed in a few interventions, such as the introduction of the introduction of a speed breaker on a particular road, the introduction of a dynamic speed control, the introduction of certain awareness programs in a specific geography, all of that. And based on your interventions, proposed interventions, the simulation tool will tell you what would be the likelihood of reduction in the road accidents in that particular locality. Again, there are many ways in which you can exploit this tool and make the best out of it. Obviously, the benefits are plenty, from equipping and empowering the city authorities with data at a very locality level or a hyper local level, to at the end of the day, protecting vulnerable road users from road accidents is what SUFFER Labs achieves to do. Now, we've been piloting this solution in East Bardhaman in West Bengal. Some of the just snapshots from the analysis that we've carried out for them and the implementation we've done for them is presented here.
Ms. Raman,
So
can
we've
you
done
wind up,
extensive
please?
hotspot analysis. Yes. So we've done extensive hotspot analysis in the district. We managed to so we were collaborating closely with Mr. Kamal of the district, be helpful in sharing data. We are now making sense of the traffic feed data that we're getting from the CCTVs, and pretty soon we'll be sharing our simulation results as well. I'd encourage you to chat me up in case you think such initiatives can be implemented in your city as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I mean, if all these can be done, that will be wonderful. But I am worried that you are basing your data on the FIR or similar other things. Of course, the other secondary data will be very right, but FIR data, how much right, I'm doubtful. But anyway, with that we will discuss later on. Now, I invite Dr. Ramu Gopalakrishnan on her topic of road safety measures for vulnerable road users. Amu, please.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, Sigda sir, for setting up the tone of this presentation. And I would also like to thank Kapila sir and IRFIC for conducting this webinar. It was very informative and interesting to have the inputs to be heard from the other renowned speakers. Let me quickly share my slide. Hope the screen is visible.
Yeah, it is.
So as earlier was presented by Sigda sir and Dr. Asija, there are first few slides which I would also have liked to show, but have made my presentation a bit more easier. So I will like to skip that slide. And as Sigda sir has mentioned, I am from 3M India. So I represent the Transportation Safety Division of 3M, where we work towards the goal to bring families home safely. I'm not sure whether the slide is moving.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
moving.
so these are the few introductions which Sigda sir has already covered. So I would just skip these introduction slides, and I would just focus on the key aspects which I would like to pinpoint today. So these are the few photographs from the Indian scenario. So what I would like to highlight here is that however the wider the traffic lane is, even if it is 9 meter, 14 meter, there are certain calculations from which we decide how much time a person from one point to another need to cross. So for this 14-meter wide carriageway, person will generally take 20 seconds to cross this road. But we have a blanket, thumb rule or a figure of 5 to 10 seconds, which we are generally giving for the pedestrians to cross in a signalized intersection, which is not enough for a safe and comfortable crossing of a pedestrian. But even if they cross, where are they reaching? So we have seen this in Indian scenario. We have seen this road when we are traveling, that we are reaching to nowhere. There is no safe crossing path, or there is no continuity in the crossing movement when we come to an intersection, or when there is a median opening or something. And even if there are something, then there is no refuge or a safe waiting space for the pedestrians. They have to wait along the carriageway, along with the two-wheeler or the car or the bus movement, wherever there is happening. So that is where they have to wait, which again is creating a conflict between the non-motorized and the motorized traffic. No proper signs and marking indicating the crossing. So this is important, because I won't mind walking 100 or 200 or 300 meter when I know there is a safe crossing ahead. And even the motorized vehicles are also given that information that you need to slow down or you need to stop, that there is a possibility, or there is a crossing facilities lying ahead of them. So here you can see in this figure, so people have to travel almost 1.5 lane to board and alight a bus. Why the bus is not stopping near to the footpath or near to the bus station? Again, we can have some infrastructure detailing or some infrastructure design intervention, so that we can make it happen. So whenever there is no continuity in the footpath, either because of an entry or exit or some other reason, so it becomes a space for parking, or it becomes a space for hawker and vendor zone or some other activities. So here the discontinuity is happening on the pedestrian footpath, and you can also see the height of the curbstone. Whenever this discontinuity happen, it is not comfortable for the pedestrians to step down and again step up, and no ramp and access have been provided to the bus stops and the footpath, which again becomes difficult for the differently abled people to have a safe movement along the carriageway. So this is basically an example of an intersection which we have done. So this is a 6-arm intersection where you can see this solid the solid marking is channelized islands, and it doesn't have any access. So, and you can see the discontinuity in the pedestrian path also. So where will they cross? So that kind of a design will result in such kind of a pedestrian travel path. So you can see all the zigzag pedestrian traveling is happening from one point to another. They don't have any dedicated path of movement. So if you follow this green line, some person is crossing from here, he's stopping here, then again crossing here, then again crossing. All this 3-4 approach they are having, and finally he's finding a crossing spot to reach his destination. So why this is happening? Why can't we have a seamless pedestrian growth? Why can't we have a seamless flow of pedestrians on an intersection, or in that case even in a mid-block section? So this is some design interventions which we have created, where in some places we have extended the median with a refuge island. In some places we have broken the island so that it gives a seamless or continuous pedestrian path. And in some places we have shifted the crossing to a point so that shouldn't be any blind spot for the vehicles as well. The vehicle should also see the pedestrian movement ahead of them, so that they can plan their speed or the driving pattern accordingly. And all this has been supplemented with road signs and marking, because people should also know there is a crossing path ahead of them, and there is a vehicular movement happening ahead of them. These are the few good practice, I would say. This is not an international, this is not an image from any of the international countries. This is basically from India only. So where you can see the continuous pedestrian guardrail is provided with frequent openings so that a dedicated pedestrian crossing path has been decided. This is from Hyderabad. The below image is that there is a pedestrian crossing, zebra crossing is provided, and a speed hump is that, and a separate pattern as per the IRC standard has been followed for the speed hump marking. This is from Chennai. And there are a few tendency roads in Bangalore where you can see the continuity of the pedestrian path has been maintained. And to access the entry and exit, there is a ramp provision which has been done. And there shouldn't be any motorized travel along the pedestrian path, as in few photographs, like Professor Sikdar has shown in the beginning. Bollards have been provided so that that doesn't happen. And this is an aerial view of an intersection where the continuity of the pedestrian crossing path has been maintained. So we are having interventions, we are having some solutions. So it is a matter of time and effort by us so that we can replicate this, sensitize the issue, and we can have it across pan India. When we talk about the pedestrian safety, there are certain scenarios also which we should address. The intersection is one such scenarios, agreed, but there are certain locations which, where all the vulnerable users come together. One is the school zone. Right, we have all type of possible movements in a school zone. This is an example of that, where this is a peak time when you can see these children on the road, you can see the bikes on the road, you can see the car, the auto rickshaws, and you can even see the school bus on flying on the same carriageway. No demarcation, non-lane dedication between all these modes of transport. So you can even see this auto is standing on the carriageway for the boarding and pickup and drop off of the school kids, and the footpath is completely occupied by hawkers and vendors, and students need to travel on the carriageway to access. Another school, there is some school zone sign which is provided, which is not as per standards. It should be placed perpendicular to road, but it is parallel to the road. People can see there is vegetation on top of that. Wide carriageway, no marking, no other road safety furniture has been provided. Non-standard application of studs here and there on the marking. So these all things need to be addressed to have an holistic approach of a school zone safety. So we have this manual under draft. I have taken this from IRC website, where how to treat a school zone has been very clearly defined. It needs to be addressed based on the hierarchy of the road. It needs to be addressed based on the type of the school which we are going to have this initiative. And if you are traveling on a local state arterial or sub-arterial street, your speed limit is different. When you are entering into a school, it should be treated from a transition zone. From 60 km/h, you are not directly coming down to 10 km/h. In the transition zone, you are treating it at 30. Then again, another proximal zone is there where you are again having interventions to take the speed down to 20. And you have an access zone where the direct entry and exit of the school is happening. And along with that, you have other interventions where you have a dedicated pickup and drop off facility. If the cycle track is there, how it's need to be treated, how the pedestrian crossing need to be treated. All this is beautifully explained in this school zone manual. And as part of our CSR initiative, we have taken a few schools under study and have taken some initiative activities. And this is what we are looking in a school zone. We are not having a few signs and road markings or some speed breakers and controlling the traffic, but we are having a holistic approach where we are looking into the footpaths. We are having pedestrian crossing at mid-block and intersections. We are taking care of that. The parking facilities we are taking care of. The pickup and drop-off facilities. All these interventions come as part of our CSR school zone initiative program, which is known as 3M Young Change Agent for Road Safety Program. So here, the few photographs shown here is that we directly interact with the students of that particular school, which we are taking up as part of this initiative. We sensitize the issue to the students. We take them to road and ask them to note down the points which they feel is not safe around their school, and ask them to give us a solution as per their ideas. And back in our drawing board, we try to create their ideas, incorporate their ideas, so that the kids are also engaged in this activity, and they should feel proud of what they have done and what the improvement measures have taken around
Dr.
their
Amo,
schools.
you need to conclude, please.
Sure, sir. So these are the few locations where we have done this initiative. A holistic approach has been done on that, and along with like what I mentioned earlier, all the signs marking the initiative, the interventions have been given. So when we talk about this, not only we should give the information to the vehicular users, but we should also sensitize the school zone, the school children, the pedestrians, that you can't crisscross anywhere when you come to talk about safety. You have a dedicated footpath, you have a dedicated crossing facility, you should stop there. So their information need to be given on the footpath facilities also, which also we should, I think we should take it as part of, equally important as what we are doing for lane dedication and speed management. So these are the few photographs where the implementation has been done. And while talking about the other aspect of bicycle safety, so other speakers have talked about the different non-applicable areas of bicycles, how it is very critical to address these issues where the the motorbikes are traveling on that, the parking is happening on the bicycle, even in the night time the JCBs are parking on the bicycle lane. So there should be a through holistic approach, all the infrastructure, even we can have a dedicated cycle crossing facility, a dedicated green time for cycles and all should be there. So also how to improve the visibility of the cycles at night. So we have this IS standard where the application of reflective stickers are mentioned on the cycles. So this is how the visible the cycles will be at night after the implementation or the improvement measures on the cycles. So we have done this CSR activity in Delhi NCR, and we have successfully completed 215,000 cycles in this part of improving the visibility at night. Even when we talk about the two-wheeler motorbikes, we have so many type of riders in our road, and there are temporary permanent measures, but we should start with the initial baby step of having a delineation. We should need to have this understanding and study on the Indian roads, how we can make the motorbikes more safer. Like what we discussed about the cycles also, we have these initiatives along with the motor cycles. On the helmets, we have reflective tape so that visibility is achieved at night. So you can see these interventions where the police is having these reflective stickers on the motorbikes. This is an initiative, another CSR activity which we have taken in Rajasthan along with the Department of Traffic Police. The other aspect, like Sikta sir also mentioned in the earlier, so other than pedestrians, bikes and two-wheelers, there are other vulnerable road users, which is basically addressed in the motor accident data book also. So trailer, either of tractor or animal drawn, is can also come under this category. Here you can see the difference in nighttime visibility of trailers with and without the application of reflective studs. So this is one last slide which I want to showcase, where the tractors are also trailers are also been highlighted with the help of reflector. The pitch dark, you can see only this reflective tape of that vehicle, because for the trailer you don't have a a headlight or a sort of any light on the rear end of that trailer. And these are some pilgrims which are walking kilometers in for a festival in Rajasthan. Here the traffic police is again applying the reflective tape on the clothes of that pilgrims, so that the visibility of them are enhanced during the night when they are traveling. And even the cattle on the road, this is a reflective collar which has been put on the collar of a cattle, so that they are also safe and we are also safe in that aspect on the road. So thank you for giving this opportunity.
Thank you, Dr. Ramo. It is interesting that all the examples you have brought in, particularly about the school zone as well as all others, non-motorized transport reflection by the retroreflective tapes. I would like to invite Mr. Pankaj Singh now, and he will be talking about the facilitating infrastructure for VRUs, how to, create infrastructure for VRUs. Mr. Singh, Pankaj Singh, please.
Thank you, Professor Sikdar. After hearing, so all the learned safety, road safety professionals and road safety experts. I'm just a, practitioner. I'm not even a road safety professional. I would say I'm just a safety professional with a key interest in road safety. And within the arena of our industry, what we try and do is raise awareness, make sure that the infrastructure around our factories, we take help from companies like 3M and all the other companies who make our infrastructure and areas around our factories and our people safer. So I don't have a presentation to make, but just at the start, after hearing all the presenters, I had some thoughts in mind, which I would like to put up here. First and foremost, road safety is also for VRUs. Is it known to the vulnerable road users? Secondly, are the vulnerable road users, they know they are vulnerable and they appreciate that they are vulnerable? Are they agree that they are vulnerable? Do they really realize that they are vulnerable? I think half of the problem would be taken care of the day vulnerables, they start thinking that they are really vulnerable, because they are the ones who I have seen, and I'm sure many of us must have seen, taking road safety rules for granted. Of course, the bigger vehicles have the bigger responsibility, and unfortunately, we are in a country where costlier the vehicle, bigger the ego. How can a smaller vehicle, overtake me, etc., etc. So those are things that are going on in our mind, and that is where I feel that while infrastructure can really take care of a lot of incidents, or not exactly the incident, but the severity of the incident can come down if the infrastructure is right. But I think where we are lacking is our road safety etiquettes, our road use etiquettes, not just road safety etiquettes. Road use etiquettes are awareness around the blind spots. Yes, we have our infrastructure. Our infrastructure is very poor as compared to many other countries, if not all. We have blind spots. We have very poor design of the roads, and we have talked about all the learned members in the panel. They have already talked about it. But why? What makes me safer on the road is my awareness towards those vulnerability. My awareness towards why I need to understand what is a blind spot. Why I need to know that I need to be visible. Just now, Dr. Amu talked about it. Why it is important that I'm visible on the road, why it is important that I know exactly where to where to cross from, because we also have large number of trucks which run for our industry, and we see on the road when there are incidents which are happening. When we investigate, you will find, because most of our vehicles have technology on board, and we get to know that many times you will see the vulnerable road users, they make very small mistakes, and that results in a very serious or a fatal injury. And that is where I think it is important that the awareness in the masses has to be increased. Yes, speed calming measures, bringing a speed rule of 25 or 30, whatever is appropriate in the urban sector. I think these are important areas where government must work on. At the same time, we need to have the infrastructure which is supporting the VRUs. Today, all the infrastructure is created around, designed around the vehicles, making life easier for the people who are in the motor vehicles, and not making it easier for the VRUs, especially the pedestrians, especially Divyangs, differently abled, as Professor Siddhar also talked about earlier. So I think these are areas that we need to really look upon, apart from just making our infrastructure better. Because look at the last incident that was in news a couple of days back in UP. Beautiful infrastructure. I think no infrastructure can be better than the one that we saw on the Prayagraj Expressway. A very good, very safe vehicle, which was bought for 1.5 CR, and very learned, educated people inside who were doctors and engineers. And yet they decided to drive at 300 kilometers per hour speed while doing a Facebook Live, and all of them died on the road. So what was lacking is the road safety, road behavior, road usage etiquettes. And that is something that I think is important to enable the road safety culture in our country. And we are a star-frenzy country, and we must take some cue from how things were dealt in the Corona times. I mean, within about 2 weeks to 3 weeks time, none of us, many of us, did not know what is the use of a sanitizer, real use of a sanitizer, other than being used in the hospital. But within about a few weeks or a month time, every nook and corner of the country got to know about what is a sanitizer, and almost every village, every individual had a small bottle in their hand. So taking a cue from how the mass awareness was done by the government of India and various governments and NGOs and corporates and everybody, I think we need to use stars, we need to use cinema as an enabler. Today, it is actually, cinema is the one which promotes unsafe driving behavior, which should be the other way around. Cinema should promote safe driving behavior. Sports, media, corporates, and these are places where I think it is important that we talk about not just the infrastructure, not just the how the road engineering and design should be. And I'm not talking about them right now, but it is important to make our citizens understand, first of all, that they are vulnerable. If they do a mistake, they are up against a motor vehicle which can kill them effectively. That is something that they must know. And secondly, it is important that they also remember that road safety is not just for a car user or a car driver or a bus driver. It is equally important for a pedestrian and a Divyang and everybody else on the road. And that is where I think most focus has to be given, and leaders, especially leaders, and I see a lot of police officers across the country are there on this call. And that's why I just wanted to make this request to everybody that this country needs visible leadership, and especially from the politicians, from the police officers, from the administrative officers in the districts and state. I think it is important, and I'm saying this with all responsibility, that even after Cyrus Mistri's death, there was so much of noise around the country, not awareness, but noise around the country around usage of seatbelt. But I'm in Mumbai. I drive about 60 kilometers to and from my office every day in the city of Mumbai. And I actually purposely look around, and especially in the vehicles where senior police officers are traveling, I've not seen any single police officer till date wearing a seatbelt on the rear seat. Many a times you will find even the driver in the police vehicle not wearing the seatbelt. So these are things that are noticed by people, noticed by citizens. These are, this is a time when 2 years back, India was, and the entire world was down with Corona, and Corona took the center stage. This is the time where road safety has to take the center stage, because government is serious, everybody is serious, all the organizations are talking about it. So I feel that it is now or never. So with that, I hand it back to Professor Sikdar.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Singh. It's wonderful. I mean, what you said is the road use etiquette. The user's responsibility. They need to know what is risky, what is not to be done. Showing the example of Purvanchal Express. That's absolutely right. All infrastructures are for vehicles only, and there is hardly anything done thinking VRU. Now, we have run out of most of the times, so therefore we'll have few questions. Now, I have few questions already in the chat box. I'll try to ask these to the respective speakers. Now, there is one question is, why are not going for 30 kilometer speed in the city area? Now, this is something may be looking good, but not everybody will agree. Now, again, 30 is the safest speed when probably a vulnerable road user like pedestrian also will be saved in terms of life with some injury. So I would request Dr. Asija to answer this question, if that is the way he is trying in Punjab. Dr. Asija.
Sir, as far as the Punjab is concerned, sir, we have lowered down. None of the city area has a speed limit maximum up to 50 kilometer, and in a special sensitive zone like a school zone safety, the speed has already been brought down to a 30 kilometer per hour. But certainly it's a further narrowing down from a 50 to 30. especially in urban areas, is a very important. And this challenge is not coming from the other roads, municipal roads and a state highway, but the major 4-lane highways, which are like a national highway and a state highway, because the character and the design speed is like by mandate is a 120 kilometers. So it is more like asking people to drive at 30 is that you have a 1 liter of Coke bottle and we are asking people to just drink 200 ml, else you will be punished. So why not to serve them a 200 ml bottle only? So this is the problem, is that all infrastructure, because there is a no lateral resistance. Like I can give you the example of Sir Airport Road of a Chandigarh, which is like a 8-lane highway. Now even, you know, driving at a 30 is not possible because the lateral resistance is not there. As a result, we all know that speed is a function of a lateral resistance.
Exactly, exactly. My point is that when you provide an infrastructure free to drive, or rather easy to drive at 80 or 100 or 120, you cannot dictate 30. You make the infrastructure for 30.
Sir, exactly.
With kind of hindrances or other speed breakers or speed restriction devices, then only people will go at 30. School zones, I agree. That we must reduce it to 25, basically, not even 30, less than 30. So that's how it should be. Now, in an expressway, it is free. I mean, free means up to the speed limit for which it is designed. But that doesn't mean that they should drive at 300. I mean, it is designed for 100, so it should be designed for, rather, people can go maximum at 100. Now, my next question in the list of question answer is, one is mentioned for Dr. Naqvi. Like NHDP program, there is a need to have National Walkway Development Program. Now, I don't know what the Ninad Athalle, somebody by that name has asked this question. Now, I believe what he's suggesting, or my suggestion, is that whenever a national highway, 2-lane or 4-lane or 6-lane, when it goes through a urban area, it must change its cross-section. It must have a different cross-section suiting to the need of all vulnerable road users as well as motorized traffic. So do you agree to this, or do you have any suggestion on that? Doctor? Is Dr. Naqvi there? He might have left, but okay. My suggestion is that there should be strict restriction on speed whenever a national highway passes through an urban area. Other question which was asked to the NHAI official, that is Dr. Naqvi, is that they have a plan to integrate NHAI ambulance to state government ambulance. Well, I mean, NHAI ambulance is actually provided by the concessionaire. So he will not go to any other place other than the road for which he has been concessioned. So therefore, this combining them is not possible in that way. That's an answer from my side. And I'm sure Dr. Naqvi would have said the same thing. Do I have any other question? Now, there is a Indranil Bose asking question. Is there any way you can enforce speed limits by law within big cities, big society premises? Okay, okay. In spite of posted speeds of 15 to 20 kilometers, there are always errant drivers. Yes, this is a big problem. People try to drive within the compound of a society at a very high speed, although they post a speed in signs at 15 or 20 or even less, sometimes 10 kilometers, but people drive at higher speed. Now, obviously, one way to do that is to provide frequent speed breakers. Small speed breakers, you can provide the entire roadway of the society. They will not be able to drive at higher speed. And that's the only way you can. Otherwise, of course, you will have to keep some policemen or rather security guards who will control them using camera and other things. But best way, self-enforcing speed breaker. That is the way to be done.
I would like to say something. Is it possible?
Please.
Because
Please
we
go.
all were talking about a speed limit. So I thought that I should give my point of view. One thing, we should get it implemented that we have a speed limit of 120 kilometers all over India. Am I right?
Yeah.
Excellent. So why don't we have a governor from the manufacturers itself? The speed limit should not cross 130 kilometers ever. If we put the governors, nobody will be able to drive at 200 or 230 like the young people are dying. So we have a governors in the speed limit. Once, okay, after few years on good highways, if we make a speed limit of 150, they go to service station and make, we give the authorization, okay, you can give to speed limit of 150. This is very easy. Like I told, if we implement section 138, everybody will have helmet and they will wear helmet. And same
Yes, that's
here.
right.
For speed
The
limit, we
speed
apply the
speed governors are placed in buses, but do they work?
But we
They are disabled. They are disabled.
Yeah, but
They
we
are disabled
cannot be disabled.
willingly, and that's how it works. So speed governors may not be able to be possible, and government, I mean, this car lobby will not allow you to put a speed governor in all the cars. That's what it is, and they will give the argument, which is not valid argument. They will say that I sell my car in Europe or America or
When you sell
Africa.
there, we don't say you that if we talk about in India, that India should be like this.
Yeah, but the car lobby will not allow you to do that. But only thing is that behavior.
Okay, this is one, and second, as we are talking
Singh
about,
says that we have to know our value of our life. What mistake we are doing, unless we understand that, will be no way safe. No way we can make ourselves safe. We have to make ourselves safe.
I absolutely agree. This is my suggestion. Second suggestion, as we are talking about a speed limit everywhere, 25, 30 and all.
Yeah.
Today, all our cars are governed by satellite and everything is with GPS. We do not need any cameras or something. With the GPS, we can say, okay, you are driving at 30 at the speed limit of 25.
Exactly.
You have to get a ticket.
Exactly. It can be done.
Yeah,
It
this
can
is
be done.
this
Mr.
is
Pankaj
the
Singh
best.
wants to say something.
Why
Mr.
we want to
Pankaj
have
Singh.
police there?
Yeah. Pankaj
This
Singh,
police-
please.
Quickly on the same line,
Quickly.
what Mr. Kapoor said, I think
Yeah.
that's exactly I was going to say that, as you rightly said, the behavior needs to be inculcated because, if the person becomes better, then he or she will be driving right everywhere, right? Whether it is society or outside. So the satellite-based system can, today telematics, in the coming days, I think telematics will be compulsory in all the vehicles. And that should be linked to the insurance premium. So today, many times people fight on the road when there is a minor crash because, I will be losing my no claim bonus. So instead of no claim bonus, it should be, good driving bonus. So if my driving score is better, then, my premium should be reduced. And that is
what is the response from Aishwarya Rahman, please, on the speed limit?
I largely concur with everything that's been said, sir. I think you've raised two important points. One on, if you are creating an infrastructure to drive faster and more easier, then how can you create a bottleneck there or a hurdle there? And secondly, how can you incentivize better driving behaviors, better speed limit adherence by precisely what Mr. Singh has raised just now on having a sort of a carrot approach, right? Not a carrot and stick, not the stick which is speed limits on the road, but the carrot approach of incentivizing positive behavior by linking it to the insurance premiums you have to pay. So I think there's nothing better to add to that, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We have run out of time, actually. We have just crossed the time limit. So I hand over to Mr. Ghosh or to Mr. Kapila. Mr. Ghosh, are you there?
Yeah, Mr. Kapila.
Would you like me to sum up now?
Yeah, you can give the closing remarks, please.
Right.
Yeah.
I would like to thank each one of you for contributing very lucidly to this particular topic. As far as ensuring people to do and behave on roads, we are trying to add ATMS on a PPP board on most of the roads. This is a time-consuming effort, but I am quite confident that in the coming years, we will be able to have the ATMS installed almost on all national and state highways, which should ensure right behavior there. And in all metropolitan cities and even two-tier cities, we'll try to have ATMS fitted. This we are going to start with in Maharashtra, and a 300 kilometer stretch has been identified, for which a proposal has been received from one of the parties, and that proposal is now under evaluation. And I am confident that we will be able to make a beginning with it in the country. The only thing is we would need more people to come forward and take that financial model, invest the money in this area, and help the cause. And here is where the people like Ambani's and Advani's and Adani's, who have the money and the deep pockets, Wipro, for the instance, they also do a lot for the education. The CSR of these companies should be able to help us to finance these ATMS proposals, and there a good financial model has been done. Nobody is going to lose anything, but initial financial investment of 50% of the outlay would be necessary. So if that can come, I'm sure we will be able to fast track this, and perhaps by 2025, the nation will get covered with ATMS. Once that happens, it will ensure appropriate behavior on roads, all roads. And that's something which we are working on as far as behavioral change is concerned. Besides what we have discussed about road safety anthem to be played, with road safety films to be shown in cinema halls before a commercial film is screened. So things of that sort will certainly help. And I'm sure people like all of you will help in taking forward this cause and achieving our aim of reducing the road accident and fatalities by 50%, much before 2030, the decadal goal. And with these words, I would like to again request you all to continue with your vigor and enthusiasm on trying to sensitize as many people as we can on the requirement of road safety. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you, Ji. Jai Hind Ji.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you to all.
All the best to everybody. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.